Polls 1200 Comparative Politics at Columbus State. My name is Martha Crone, and I'm excited to be your instructor for this web course. I'm a faculty member in the Social Sciences Department at Columbus State. I've got a doctorate in political science from Ohio State, and one of my areas of concentration in graduate school was comparative politics. So this course is near and dear to my heart. I'm glad we're all working together to increase our understanding of the politics of countries around the globe. I look forward to getting to know you this semester. To start off with, let's look at political science as a discipline. Poli-sci, as it is often called, is divided into 4 basic subfields of study. The first one is American politics, and that includes courses and research projects that have to do with the government and politics of the United States. The second subfield is comparative politics. Comparative politics looks at the internal politics of all different countries around the globe. The third subfield is international relations. IR, as it's often called, deals with the interactions between countries, such as war or the creation of treaties or international organizations like the United Nations or the European Union. And finally, the last category of subfields of political science is political theory. And this is basically political philosophy. We study the key political topics like justice or liberty. We look at what current and ancient philosophers have thought about them, and we apply that to politics today. Polls 1200, this class, is the introductory course in the subfield of comparative politics. This course will be a broad overview of various topics that are studied within that subfield. If you take higher level political science courses at a 4-year institution, you might take classes in single countries, such as the government and politics of a country like China. Or you might take a course in a geographical area like Latin America or the Middle East. Or you might take a course in a specific topic, such as political parties or legislatures. In comparative politics, we use a research method called the comparative method, which is also used in many other academic disciplines. It's also used in everyday life, and believe it or not, you probably have used it yourself. The comparative method relies on analyzing the similarities and differences among fill in the blank. In comparative politics, that would be countries, to better understand them and to better understand the general category. For a really simple example of the comparative method, let's think about the category pets. All of us can easily think of types of pets, such as dogs, cats, fish, or even ferrets. And we realize that they differ from each other in important ways. We can compare types of pets by applying various bases of comparison. I've listed some of them here. So we know that types of pets can vary on their average size, their size range. Dogs, for example, have a very wide size range, whereas pet birds don't have nearly as big of a size range. Their need for human attention. So you can leave your cat for the weekend, maybe with someone coming in to check on it once in a while, but if you try that with your dog, you'll have a disaster on your hands. What type of food they eat, how much it costs to take care of them, their level of playfulness. I'm sure you can think of many other things to add to this list. And as you do that, this is the comparative method. We can try to learn something about each type of pet by comparing it to other types. We can even think of hypotheses and test those out. We can think of research questions we'd like to know comparing these different types of pets. Here's an example. A small rodent, like a ferret, is less expensive to care for than a large dog, like this Great Dane. Is this just due to their size, or is it also due to other factors? We could try to find that out using the comparative method. In the same way, comparative political scientists analyze similarities and differences between the governments of different countries to answer research questions about politics and government. For example, here are some of the bases of comparison where we find differences and similarities among countries. We might find differences and similarities in their form of government, and we will be studying these. In the type of economic system they have and the extent to which the government regulates that economy. Whether the country is wealthy or not wealthy, how much wealth inequality is there in the country, how fast is the economy growing compared to other countries around the world. The demographics of a country, its population characteristics. So, for example, what is its racial and ethnic makeup? Is it a very diverse country, or is it a country where just about everybody shares the same racial heritage? That makes a big difference for governments. What's the life expectancy in that country? Are there a lot of, comparatively, a lot of older people or younger people? What's the political culture of the country like? How many languages do the people speak? Is there one main language or are there many languages? What's some of its history and how has that affected its governing compared to those, for example, a country that has had a lot of wars and invasions often will have a very different political culture than a country like the United States that's never experienced a mainland invasion. All of those are things that we can compare countries on. One of the last and very important ones is geography. A country like England, that's an island, for example, is going to have very different politics than a country that has lots of countries on its border, like France. So in the next video for the unit, we're going to dive more deeply into the actual methods that are used to try to compare countries. So we may have a research question that asks, what's the relationship between the type of economic system a country has and its form of government? In our next slide, we're going to, or in our next video, we're going to look at how a comparative political scientist might go about trying to answer that question and what methods they'll use. That's all I've got for this intro video. Here's a topic for the discussion board this week. Each of you should post another category, similar to pets or governments, that someone could study using the comparative method. It can be a very simple one. It doesn't have to be anything related to politics. And then you should think of a few bases of comparison for your category, just like we did with pets on one slide or governments on the other slide. I'll start us off with one category and then you guys can take it from there. Just be sure not to repeat one that someone else has already posted. Thanks for listening. Be sure to watch the second video for this week before you take any of the quizzes or post on the discussion board. And I look forward to working with you this semester.